What's going on everyone, SuperaTom here, and I just got off of Patch 2.7 livestream. Thank God it's finally happening at the end of May. There are quite a few interesting things that's coming to the patch. But you know what's most surprising to me? Xiao is already back. Like, it's only been 2 to 3 patches since he was last live. Well, we did have to wait for a whole year last time of his rerun, but having his third rerun this early is really, how do I put this? Interesting. Funny how I've seen many of my comments asking when I think Xiao will be back, and my saying is literally that he won't be back at least until next year. Well, I guess anything can happen. Plus, due to the fact that we are seeing double banner like constantly, the character that you love will most likely have their rerun sooner than your Primogem can actually fill up Lumine's pocket.
Wait. Just a minute. First of all, I'm Lusk, the video editor. I know I wasn't invited to the video, but I couldn't help but express my deep indignation that Yoimiya hasn't had her rerun so far, while Xiao is on his third. I can't believe. That's all. Let's continue with the video. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Either way, it's really good news to anyone who loves Xiao, so for anyone who hasn't got a chance to get Xiao, now is your chance. However, I know that there will be many of us who are on the fence of whether or not you should get him at this point, because we do have a lot of other characters coming along with him, which is exactly why we have today's video dedicated on looking into Xiao to help you make the best decision on whether he is a good fit for your account or not. Now, I won't be going into details for his build in any way, as I already have a specific video on that. You can check it out later if you're looking to build your Xiao. Now, if you're new to the channel guys, I usually make guides video especially for free-to-play players, helping you make the best decision when playing Genshin Impact. So be sure to subscribe to not miss out, and it is a free way of supporting me to get to my goals of 20,000 subscribers faster. Either way, I really appreciate every one of you. With that, let's just jump into the video. Now, Xiao was one of the first ever character to be playable in Genshin Impact Beta. His looks and skills animation which is absolutely fantastic that many fell in love with him at first sight. Until this day, I myself also think that his skills animation and gameplay is somewhat more of a unique style, because his burst focuses on plunging playstyle still is one of the kind till this point. The thing that most people usually focuses on whether to use Xiao or not is based mostly on preferences or how meta he actually is. If we're looking into how much usage he can provide for the current Genshin meta, he is still and always will definitely be very usable across the abyss, because having access to a Nemo element, it is basically a universal element which can go up against enemies and deal with them, unless you're directly up against enemies with an Anemo shield, which is at this point in time non-existent in the game. So for Xiao, he will find himself do decently well in the abyss whenever he goes into, especially in the current patch where a Nemo character tends to have pretty good advantages. As for longevity, you don't really have to worry about that either, because not just Xiao but any other character, you will find some use for them in your team. Because a team in Genshin isn't set in stone, you will have to be flexible depending on the situation if you want to have an easier time going through the game, unless you really don't want to change up your team, which is fine. And that's the thing for Xiao, is that his usage won't be as high as the other top characters, because this quite come down to player preferences of using him during the abyss, since we tend to have better options. But it can't deny the fact that he is still considered as one of the top 3 leeway character alongside with Ganyu and Hu Tao. He's obviously going to perform really well with his insanely high burst damage. Now, to go more into details of Xiao, we'll look into his pros and cons. First, we'll look into his pros. He's a very fun to play character from all the fast-paced action animation that's going on. He puts on his Yaksha mask during burst, which looks very cool. Burst changes his playstyle to plunging attack, which feels really good and deals a ton of damage in AoE, helping you to clear battle that has many small mobs. Apart from dealing with Anemo mobs directly, a Nemo character can basically deal very good damage on any enemies without worrying too much on their resistance. Thus, they have the ability to break shield across elements is really good. Xiao is very good at C0, you do not need to invest in any constellation for him. As for his cons, his burst decrease his HP and can't kill him by himself. He's dependent on good healer and shield user on your team, and his DPS really relies on burst damage, so many of the time his playstyle is focused on dealing plunging attack from his burst. Now if you're planning to go for Xiao during this rerun, then you're probably also thinking about Constellations. If you're looking to go for Xiao's Constellations, then generally I don't always recommend it, because unless you really love the character, then sure, you can invest in him. But saving Primos for another new 5-star character is always better than getting Constellations. Either way, if you're going for Xiao's cons, there's currently only 2 Constellations that's actually really good, which is either C1 or C6. C1 just improves your quality of life with his E skill a lot. One additional dash might seem insignificant, however it can actually spread out your E skill usage a lot unless you just want to spam 3 skills in a row. And C6 turns Xiao's into a monster when you're up against many enemies at once. I myself haven't got to experience Xiao C6, but seeing online showcases of him in C6 is absolutely nuts. I believe it only works when you're up against many enemies, otherwise you're soloing. It doesn't work, which is kinda sucks for how much you have to spend for a C6 character. So those are only the 2 cons that you want to focus on. Anything in between is just not worth it. So with that being said, after we've already looked into the details of Xiao, the question now that you have to ask yourself is, should you boo for Xiao? And here I will be providing my personal advice to whether to go for him. So it's totally up to you to decide to follow my advice or not, but either way I hope it will be helpful to you. Now we know that Xiao has a very unique playstyle. Usually character like this will be geared more towards player preferences. If you're someone who loves Xiao as a character, then you've probably already decided to go for him. If you're still wondering after all that we've discussed, then first of all you should wait till his arrival for the trial and test him out to see how it feels when using him. Also do note that the majority of his gameplay revolves around his burst plunging attack for maximum DPS output, so it can get repetitive gameplay attempts. He will also require you to have decent teammate support for healing and shielding, so he will mostly not be a soloing character. So character like Jin and Sayu for anemo resonance, particle supports and healing is really good for Xiao. Having character with good shielding like Zhongli on the team will also benefit Xiao a lot. And so if after considering all about Xiao and you still feel like you can skip upcoming characters like Yilan or Ito or even Kazuha, then yes, Xiao will definitely be a fit for you. At that point I would just say that good luck being able to pull for Xiao or his Constellation if you're going for that. Now I know that there will be other characters coming as well, especially Ito and Yilan, or as I have mentioned above, one of the most loved character in the community right now, Kazuha, is probably coming back pretty soon. If you're still wondering which character to go for, then in the next few videos I will be talking about just that. I will be diving in depth into their characters also and help you make the best decision with it. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe to the channel to not miss out. I hope that this video have been helpful to you, and with that I wish you a super day and I will catch you on the next video.